Well, hello fellow hunters and welcome back to Monster Hunter World. I've had quite a few requests for a compendium of tutorials on specific monsters, and with the release of the PC version, I figured now is a good time as any, and today we're going to start off with the pink Rathian. Now, we will be covering everything you need to know about the pink Rathian, so I hope you all enjoy it, and if you want to see more of these, definitely let me know in the comments below. But we will also be covering exactly how to acquire all the Rathian tracks to be able to unlock this in the storyline. For those of you still trying to acquire Rathian tracks or any tracks in the game, this is certainly a headgear you want to craft. It's the Hunter's Headgear Alpha, and it has a particular armor skill on it called Scholar, which speeds up progression on research levels and special investigations. This will drastically reduce the amount of time it takes to acquire special investigations and tracks, and it'll really speed up your progression, so I highly recommend crafting it as soon as possible. Now, as far as acquiring the actual tracks, you're going to want to go to the Ancient Forest Camp 1 and the Wildspire Waste Camp 1, and then you're going to follow the path shown in these clips, which is relatively easy to follow. You pretty much just go out of Camp 1 and go to the right on both maps. Now, as long as you follow both of these, you'll be able to acquire the tracks relatively quickly, and once you finish the path on one, you just go into an expedition to the Wildspire Waste, or vice versa at the Ancient Forest. You jump back and forth between both of these, and you'll eventually acquire all the tracks. Now, once you get halfway through this quest, you will want to go back to Astera to acquire a different quest, and then you can fully get all the tracks after that. If we check out the monster field guide, we can gain some useful information about the pink Rathian. You can see that her head, wings, and tail are all weak points, as well as breakable or severable. She is very weak to the dragon element, with thunder coming in at a close second. She is also very susceptible to stun, with sleep and paralysis coming close behind. Now, for all of you wet limp noodle hunters out there, you can acquire the Kinsect boost by getting the red from the head, white from the wings, and orange from the legs. You can also get a health boost from hitting the tail. Now, with all that being said, let's go ahead and get into some of the movesets. The first thing you're going to want to look out for is the tail spin. You can tell when this is going to happen because she will stop, look behind her, wave her tail back and forth, and then initiate the spin. Now, this could be particularly devastating because if you get caught up in it, she does initiate lawnmower mode immediately after and can be a devastating combo. Now, you can stop the tailspin a number of different ways, but the easiest is to recognize when she's about to do it because her head will turn and then you can hit her with a flash pod to stop her in her tracks. You can also dodge into her legs or to the side to avoid the tailspin as well. Now, one of her most annoying attacks is lawnmower mode. You can deal with this in various different ways, and they can all be blocked. But if you do get sick of this, it is actually hard to do damage to her while in this mode unless you have a ranged weapon, so I highly recommend using flash pods to prevent her from running around freely, although you will need to pay attention because oftentimes after being flashed, she will initiate a vertical tailspin. This is both an incredible opportunity for you and something you desperately want to avoid because it will do quite a bit of damage, knock you back, and poison you. Now, thankfully, it is very easy to tell when she is going to do this attack. She will take 2 small steps backwards, pause for a moment, and then do the vertical tailspin. This is a huge opportunity for you as a hunter to use a flash pod, knock her out of the sky, and do quite a bit of damage. Using flash pods during this fight will make your life exponentially easier. It is important to note that after the vertical tailspin, her moves can vary. Oftentimes, she will immediately land, so your window for using your flash pod is extremely limited, although there is a chance that she will continue to stay in the air, do a dash and then another tailspin and land, or tailspin twice, dash and land, or a variance of those 3. Aside from using flash pods, you can knock her out of the sky. In this instance, we dodge the swipe, and then we are able to cut her tail, knocking her out of the sky. Now, this is a momentary knockdown, and she will get up very quick. Her next move is a triple fireball attack, and she always does this in the same way. She will shoot center, left, and then right. So when you see her start this up, I always like to run to the right because it gives me ample time to evade all the fireballs. Next up is something you're definitely going to want to pay attention to. Every time she roars, she's either going to immediately enter lawnmower mode, do a tail swipe into the air, or shoot a fireball, so you always want to make sure not to be directly in front of her after a roar. Aside from using a flash pod once she's in the air during the tailspin, you can time it just right to get a trap off, and then you can do quite a bit of damage while the traps are in effect. I highly recommend using traps as much as possible if you're having trouble with this fight. Shock traps and pitfall traps will work great as long as you save one for the end, because if you trap her, you're going to save yourself about 20% of the fight. So between flash pods and traps and understanding the intricacies of each of the moves, it'll really help you succeed at defeating the pink Rathian and really any flying type in the game. I always like to heavily use flash pods. But that is all I've got for today's episode. I hope you all enjoyed it, and if you have any monsters you would like to see me cover specifically on the channel, definitely make sure to let me know in the comments below, and I'll also be putting a poll in the top right corner, so make sure to vote for which monsters you would like to see. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed it, and I will see you all in the next one.